Yeah, go
of
for it.
what happened today as they're trying to get this tax bill together. They are absolutely gutting Medicaid. And this is going to be another example of gaslighting. And I'll crystallize the picture for you when you hear Chip Roy just straight lie on TV because he knows that the base is not that smart. Listen to this, and then I'll give you the facts.
But we still haven't addressed the fundamental fraud, the scam that is the combination of the 90% FMAP along with the provider taxes, which for those, if you're watching this, you don't know what all that means. It's basically saying that we give 7 times more money for the able-bodied than the vulnerable. That's not President Trump's message. That's not what the American people want. So I think we can make those changes. We've been educating the Senate and the House during this process. The Senate's very interested in dealing with these issues.
Lord have mercy, y'all. Fake ass, great value Jesse Ventura just sat there and lied through his damn teeth. And Claire, this is a form of gaslighting I've seen white guys in particular do since I was a child.
Me too.
They use jargonistic, big words, jargonistic language that they know the average person is not going to want to look up. And back in my day, Claire, we didn't have the internet. You had to get an encyclopedia or you had to take your ass in there and get a dictionary to figure it out. And so let me show you the jargon he just used and then lie to you about specifics of what he said. Here we go. Look at this. As you can see, it says this is talking about the data that says 7 times more funding goes to able-bodied adults than it does to those who need it. It's just a lie. It's a patent lie. And let me read this for you in plain words. It says, according to Medicaid spending eligibility, seniors age 65 plus average spending per enrollee is about $18,923. Individuals with disabilities average per enrollee about $18,000. Non-disabled adults average spending per enrollee $6,000, and children average spending $3,000. Claire, what did that man just say?
Pretty much the opposite of that.
Pretty much. That man just said that there's more spending going on for people who don't need it than those do need it. And you see the tops. Let me read to you guys the very top line so that you know that this is not fake. No, the assertion that Medicaid provides 7 times more funding to able-bodied adults than to those who need it most is inaccurate. In reality, Medicaid allocates a significantly amount higher of funding per enrollee to seniors and individuals with disabilities. All right, and let me show you one more piece of data so that you guys can go, when you have these debates, you've gotten the facts on what's going on. Second part about Chip Roy, and this is the conclusion and the misconceptions about able-bodied adults, because this is a Republican talking point that they just made up. They gaslighted it and use it a jargon term so that their average base is not going to look it up. But we're not the average, and we're trying to teach you all to be better than the average. We've got tools now. This is not back in my day when we had 9 planets. Pull out your phone. Chat Donatello is what I call mine, but it's called Chat GPT, and look this shit up. Misconceptions. Some policies discussions have raised concerns that Medicaid expansion under the ACA, Obamacare, has led to disproportionate allocation of funds toward able-bodied adults. However, it's important to note that the higher federal matching rate for the ACA, 90%, compared to traditional Medicaid populations, 50 to 70%, may incentivize states to prioritize enrolling of non-disabled adults. Despite this, the per enrollee spending on non-disabled adults remains significantly lower than that for seniors and individuals with disability. Grand conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the claim that Medicaid provides 7 times more funding to able-bodied adults than it does to those who need it most is not supported. And when they talk about how states will use non-needing individuals, Claire, let me tell you exactly what states are doing that. All the red states, all the states that have the worst education, the Louisianas, the Mississippis, the Alabamas, the Oklahomas. That's where they're enrolling these people and profiting off of people using the ACA and then trying to blame it on Obamacare and Medicaid when their data is patently false.
And where do
Gaslighting.
they even where do they get these numbers 7 times? Like, where did you come up with, did he just pull it out of his ass? Like,
It's called good old white male GOP gaslight. He just pulled the shit out of his ass. I just
he's
gave
like,
you the
"This will
fact.
sound good." I think that my following wants to hear something like this, so I'm just gonna say it. Like,
Mhm. And what I've learned, because when I met Claire, I kind of told her about my background in business and how I learned business from a bunch of Republican white guys when they got drunk that would tell me all their little dirty secrets. And I pretended like I was drinking when I was really just taking notes. They all do this shit, Claire. They use jargon. They love to hear themselves speak. They have this big ego. They just say shit because they feel like the average person is not going to look it up. And usually in politics, when you're the GOP, your average person is not going to look it up. They're going to take you as gospel. They're going to think because you use a word that's got 10 syllables that you're smart. They might even think you're smart because you're in office. But look at what we got sitting in the White House. Having said that, I'll give you the last word on this one, Claire.
wow. Yeah, no, I think that what brought a lot of people to MAGA was that Trump sounds like a toddler a lot of the time when he's talking.
Yeah.
He loves to dumb things down so much so that we're losing all of the necessary nuance. And then the people who follow him also know when to turn it up and when to be speaking in a way that their audience is not going to get it. But I think there's so many people who were like, "Oh, I hate politicians because I don't understand what they're saying." Half
Right.
the time, because all of them are highly educated, and then Trump came along and they're like, "He's one of us." No, he is one of them and worse. He's one of the rich, educated people, and he's dumb. So,
And he's a crook.
and he's a fraud. He's
Yeah.
fraudster. So, oh gosh, it's so exhausting. And I do have MAGA family. I have my grandparents are MAGA, my aunt and uncle, MAGA. And it is just so exhausting trying to explain to people that they are self-sabotaging.
Right.
Um, and that they're not even fully grasping what's going on, but they think it's the Dunning-Kruger effect, actually.
Right.
The more you know about something, the more you know that you don't know things. And they will get 3 talking points on something and they think they're an expert. And then the person who's actually an expert understands just how vast a topic is. And they're still going to be humble about it and say, even if they're an expert, I still don't know everything. And it's why a lot of times people will get in arguments with MAGA people, and the MAGA people who are listening think the MAGA person's winning
Right.
because they're shouting or they're talking over the other person. And they literally just can't even fathom what is actually being said. They just think winning an argument means like talking over someone, calling them names, like petty shit that you do when you're like in middle school arguing with people, not when you know how to debate and when you're educated. So it's just, yeah, it's exhausting trying to reason with people who I just don't think the wheels are turning fast enough.
Right. And that's why I agree with her. And that's why I say one of the biggest things the Democrats have got to hunker down and get done is the education system. Putting things in the education system that deal with critical thinking, facts, logic, start early, give the real history of this country so that those young minds that don't come to the table hating people, they come with love and want to be filled with knowledge, are filled with the correct knowledge and the best reasoning and deducing skills so that they don't succumb to this bull job. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to get worse now that we're doing AI. It's going to get worse. And you want a functional education system that can teach people how to decipher the truth from what's fake. Let us know what you guys think. Be sure to go and check out the Life Gain store. You can get that t-shirt be sure to go subscribe to Claire B. Her link is in description. And then just promote us so we can grow this message.